Speaking of that, how about this? Your legal right to broadband will start next March. Well, not you, Will. You got no legal right. You got no right whatsoever. But if you were in the UK, you will have a legal right to 10 megabit per second broadband, and it starts in March. And this is posted on theinquirer.net. And so they've got a governing body trying to increase access to broadband, even in the far reaches of the UK, so that everybody has at least decent internet. Now, I know a lot of you, depending on where you're located, you're like 10 megabit. Can't even 10 megabit. Trying to stream Lou Later right now. These episodes. What is it, 1 hour long? Come on. Come on, Lou. That's what the Clips channel's for. Jeez. Still one or two comments like this all the time. 1 hour long. What do you think, Lou? I'm not, I got things to do here. I don't want. I don't know whose it is. It's somebody's voice. That's what the Clips channel is for. Willie Do, shout out. Later Clips. Yes, it's an official channel. I should tell people this as well. It's an official channel. It's not a knockoff. No one's ripping the content. It's an official channel for the Clips. If you don't have an hour, you could watch the show clipped up into like 4-minute segments for each section. Anyway. So for those of you that are short on bandwidth in the UK, you're now going to get guaranteed speeds of 10 megabit per second down and 1 megabit per second up. And it has to be £45 per month or lower. Again, this is from the government, essentially. And if the telco can't do it, or if it's going to be expensive to run it out to your remote location, then the eligible homes will be paid up to £3,400 to get those connections in there. So they're bringing people online. This is a good thing. I mean, it's hard to figure out like where it's worth it. UK is a pretty small country, geographically speaking. Canada, bananas. Like what? If you're out in the middle of nowhere, Canada, like you might be really far. You might be off the grid. The UK less so, obviously, but there have been some studies that I've seen which seem to indicate that if you bring more people online, economic situations get better because options for people get better. Research gets better. They can interact with the economy in different ways, even remotely, just through that access. So this might cost a few bucks in the beginning. You can imagine getting these wires out to these places. But in the long run, access appears to be a good thing. So it's whether or not this would work in your country has a lot to do with geography, has a lot to do with the scale and the scope of it, and also what's already available to you. Because like I said, I think a lot of people that watch this show here are probably laughing at 10 megabit connections, There's people that are laughing at 100 megabit connections, depending on where they're located. I talked to people in Latvia. You didn't know that. I talk to people in Latvia. I check in. I talk to people in Norway. I talk to people in Finland. I talk to people in Korea. Yeah, that's right. I talk to them, Will, and you know what I hear? Great connections. And they're like, you get to Korea, for example, they're like, I pay $9 a month for a gigabit connection. It's crazy what's out there. We're lagging in certain departments. You're bringing up Google Stadia now because, for example, the top tier Google Stadia, 4K game streaming,
it got bumped up to 35 megabits. Megabits, yeah. It used to be 25.
Yeah, you got to get that 5.1 audio. You got to get that 60 FPS. And you got to get the 4K res, so it's understandable. 35 megabit per second connection necessary. So these people on the outskirts in the UK, they're still not picking up premium Stadia. But if you look, the recommended minimum for 1080 or for 720p, gaming 60 FPS is 10 megabits. So they can participate still. 10 megabit seems to be some sort of cutoff. Now, maybe you're in another part of the world where you're like, man, I wish I had 10 megabit. That's possible too. So interesting stuff. The world moves forward. The world moves on. Connectivity, it's key. Let's stay connected. Will, all right? Sound like a telco commercial right now. Let's stay connected.